Hi everyone, so this is my first video in my channel Princess Ruru. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Today I will do the first lecture in physiology. Um, so I will do a playlist for all physiology lectures for the GIT, and for today I will start with saliva. So I will talk about 5 learning objectives. First, I will talk about the composition of saliva. Second thing, I will describe the mechanism and the secretion. Third, I will explain the control of salivary secretion. 4, I will talk about the function of saliva. Fifth, I will talk about the difference between hypo and hypersalivation. So first, let's start for the composition of saliva. First, the saliva every day it's secreted from 0.8 to 1.5 liter every day. This is the normal range. So there is a condition, it is maybe secrete less or more, but the normal is about 0.8 to 1.5 liter every day. The pH for the saliva is from 6 to 7, that means it is slightly acidic, but there is some condition it's become more basic. I will talk about it later. Third thing, it is hypotonic. What we mean by hypotonic? If you can see this picture, it will make easy for us to understand how the saliva it is hypotonic. So as you can see in this picture, saliva hypotonic. What we mean by hypotonic? Hypotonic when there is lower concentration of sodium and chlorine inside the saliva, so it is lower than the plasma, and there is potassium and bicarbonate more in saliva than plasma. So when there is lower concentration of sodium and chlorine inside the saliva, it means hypo, it means less concentration of sodium and chlorine. So as we can see in this picture, it shows the concentration of sodium, chlorine and bicarbonate and potassium in the plasma. So as I mentioned, it's hypotonic, that means it has low concentration of sodium and chlorine, and that means the plasma has more, outside is more, inside it less. So outside in the plasma more concentration is sodium and chloride. pH for the saliva, as I mentioned before, is from 6 to 7 at rest. This is normal, but it can be basic, more basic, when there is stimulation of HCO3. If there is more stimulation of HCO3, that means it become more basic. So this is the meaning of hypotonic saliva. Let's back to the notes. So as we mentioned, it's hypotonic. It is consistent of 99.5% water, and it has organic and inorganic substances. So organic and inorganic. Organic, it's like enzyme. It's like albumin, amylase, mucin, AGF. This is all organic substance in the saliva. There is also inorganic, like sodium, potassium, bicarbonate. As I mentioned, this is inorganic substance. So this is for the first learning objective. I mentioned the composition of saliva. So let us move to the second learning objective. That's the mechanism of the saliva. So we have first primary secretion. There is a cells is called acinar cells. It is secretes saliva into salivary duct and is acetonic. That means the sodium and chlorine inside the saliva it is equal to the concentration of potassium and HCO3 in the plasma concentration, so it's isotonic. There is also modification of saliva in the ductal cells. So as we know, in the saliva duct, the reabsorption of sodium and chloride, it is greater, so it is less inside it, and there is more secretion of potassium and HCO3. It is higher in the plasma. So this is the mechanism. There is also point I will talk about it. It is the phases of salivary secretion. We have different phases of saliva secretion. So first we have cephalic, buccal, esophageal phase, and gastric phase. The first phase is when we smell the food. This is a cephalic phase. It's called cephalic phase. Buccal phase when the food is present in the mouth. Esophageal when it is passes through the esophagus. Gastric when it is present in the stomach. So this is the different phases of the salivary. Let's move to the third objective, which is explain the control of salivary secretion. So as we know, there is two autonomic nervous system. We have parasympathetic and sympathetic control. In parasympathetic control, we have there is more. We know in parasympathetic there is more secretion of saliva. We have parotid glands and submandible and sublingual glands. In parotid glands, it is supplied by inferior salivary nucleus. Submandibular as its names, so we can remember superior. Submandibular and sublingual is supplied by superior salivary nucleus. I will show you a picture. It shows how the parotid and submandibular and sublingual, it's supplied. This is picture. Look to this picture. So here we have preganglionic fibers. It has a superior salivatory nuclei and inferior salivatory nuclei. The superior one, it is, as I said before, it's supply the submandibular and sublingual. It is joined by the facial nerve, and it is and it is meet to the chorda tympani, to the submandibular and sublingual. So this is this for the sublingual and for the submandibular. For the parotid gland, here we have the inferior. This is inferior salivatory nuclei. It is here. It is start with tympanic nerve, and it is go to the otic ganglion to the parotid gland. So this is a parasympathetic control. In the sympathetic control, there is less secretion of saliva. And preganglion fibers erases from the first and second thoracic segments. And there is also in the sympathetic vasoconstriction, that means less blood supply. Let's move to the fourth objective, which is the function of saliva. The saliva has different function, as you can see in this